Hey guys, it's Josh Wagner, 17-0, professional boxer, and you're watching the Johnny I Pro Show.
It's about that time you're on the show. Welcome.
Let's go, buddy. Good
That's it. Growing up, Orangeville. How was that growing up in Orangeville?
Honestly, man, small town, just north of Toronto, about an hour. Born and raised. It's an awesome little town. They definitely got my back. And I'm trying to put Orangeville on the map.
What got you into boxing? At what age?
12 years old. I played rep hockey, and I was always on the cusp. The last cut. I was always the grinder. I wasn't the goal scorer. And my older brother, he's 3 years older than me, and whatever he did, I usually followed in his footsteps. So he walked into a boxing gym, and I kind of just followed him. And the rest is history, man. I started fighting. I actually lost my first amateur fight. And then I won my next one, and then I lost my next one. So I went to my coach, and I'm like, I don't know if this is really for me. And he's like, just stay with it, stay with it. And then I ended up winning 17 fights in a row. I won nationals. I was #1 in Canada. And then I said, I'm going to do it. I'm going for it. So here we are.
The feeling of your first pro fight win, how was that feeling?
Honestly, I remember, so when I turned pro, I moved out to Edmonton, and I had my first 6 pro fights in Edmonton and Calgary. And yeah, man, I remember it's a whole different vibe. You have the press conference, you have the weigh-in, you have the face-off. In the amateur, you're usually behind the scenes. You have, you still see the doctor, you still do your weigh-ins, but there's not as much media coverage and stuff like that. So, it was exciting, right? And then obviously when, it's a different scoring, you have different gloves on, so you're in the back room, and you're putting these smaller gloves on, and I remember putting them on, and I thought, okay, these gloves are super small, and I'm going to go for the knockout.
Yeah.
And I remember I learned a lot in my first fight, because if I don't think you can watch it back, but I remember precisely, all I was doing was headhunting. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get the knockout. Ended up not getting the knockout because I was looking for it too much, because I had these little gloves on.
Right down to it, April 27th versus Vasquez. Now, let's go now to this similar matchup style. How do you think this matches up for you?
He's a southpaw. He's from Argentina. He's 17-1. There's a little bit of tape on YouTube that I've seen, while I'm doing my workouts, just to pick up on little things, little mistakes that he makes. He's definitely a game fighter. He's going to come to win. He has a full training camp. It's for an IBF international title, so there's a lot on the line. Winner of this gets put top 15 in the IBF, which is one of the major sanctioning bodies, so it's a pretty big deal. He's a rugged fighter. He can fight on the front foot. He can fight on the back foot. But like I said, I think I've lost to one southpaw, and it was in the amateurs. And but I do very well with southpaws. And me and Stevie, we have a great game plan, training camp. It just begun last week. We're still 7 weeks out, but I was supposed to fight February, and then it got pushed back to April. So over Christmas and stuff like that, I was keeping my weight down, staying consistent. So we're ready, man. We're ready. I could fight next week.
Leading up to this fight, like you said, training camp, you just started, but obviously maybe you also were training just before that because it got postponed, it kept lingering on, etc. How was this whole training camp? How do you feel about this training camp going to this fight?
There's a few southpaws in the area that we're going to get working, so we're going to get great southpaw work. West End, the gym there is just full of guys.
Top tier.
full of beasts, so there's no lack of motivation there. And yeah, man, you're going to see the boss come out April 27th.
We always high praise Stevie and stuff, but what does Stevie mean to you in general?
Stevie is, it's hard to put into words, man. He's not just a coach. I consider him like family. He's pretty much our therapist, our coach, all in one. And, I just have full trust in him. And, yeah, man, he means a lot to me.
Your most memorable fight to date, if something just stands out to you, most memorable fight?
I'd have to say my first title fight. It was for an IBA title, and I fought Jorge Perez, and I think it was considered to be my first step-up fight. And it was for a title, 10 rounds. And the guy was very game, very, very game, and he came off a loss, so he was definitely coming out for the win. And I remember too, going into I think the 8th round, 7th or 8th round, it was a very close fight. Watching it back, I probably was down around, and Stevie definitely knew that. And I remember in the corner, he said hey, if you got to do something here, you're gonna lose this fight.
Yeah.
And I ended up going out and knocking him out in the 9th round. So I mean, it was a memorable fight because I was down on the scorecards and I had to pull something out of me, and I did.
You got a knockout
and
too.
It was for a title, so that was a pretty memorable fight.
What sacrifices did you make, like, just to get you where you're at right now? Because there's a lot of sacrifice, obviously, like family, this, that, this. Like, what is the sacrifice that you really had to make to come to this point? You're 17-0. That's not a slouch. That's 17-0. That's like some big accomplishment right there.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, there's been birthdays, there's been Christmases, there's been holidays that I've had to miss because I'm cutting weight and I'm training, or there's been times where you can't go out with your friends and you got to make sacrifices like that. But for me, it's worth it. When I get my hand raised, if I have to miss that one night with a buddy or miss the holiday and eating cake or whatever, like I think when my hand's raised, I'm not even worried about any of that stuff.
Who's your toughest opponent to date? If you could pick out of, like, it could be professional, amateur, but let's say professional.
I'm going to say professional. My last title fight for the IBO title, it was Williams Herrera, and he gave me 10 hard rounds. But I think boxing-wise, like boxing technical, when I fought in the States, I fought an undefeated guy, Jeffrey Torres. He was 8-0 at the time, I was 7-0 at the time. And as for boxing IQ, he was a very slick American fighter. And I remember the first round, he clipped me with a left hook, and it kind of rung my bell a little bit. And I remember thinking like, "Oh, I can't get hit with that again." Yeah. And obviously, I didn't get hit with it again, and I ended up getting the win.
What separates you from other fighters?
I think what separates me from other fighters is my will to win. I'm not arrogant about it, and I'm not cocky about it, but I have extreme confidence in myself, and I don't ever think about losing. I don't even.
You're not even back.
I don't even think about losing ever. I don't even put that in my mind. I'm a winner, so like whatever I have to do to win, I'll do.
Who's your biggest inspiration growing up for you?
I think one of my first amateur coach was obviously a big inspiration. He was my first coach in boxing in Orangeville. We all, the people that were like major fighters in his club, we got big time tattoos. That was the name of the gym, Big Time Boxing. His name is Brian Mackey. He was a professional boxer too. Held the Canadian title and fought some pretty world names. So he was always an inspiration growing up to me. Obviously my brother.
If I say now to you boxing, the word boxing, what does boxing mean to you?
That's a good one. Boxing to me is everything. Obviously, there's life outside of boxing, but boxing has always been my identity from 12 years old when I walked into the gym. I'm from a small town, so I've always been that boxing. I've always been the boxing kid. It's everything to me, man. It's my life. It's my passion, and it's my world, man.
Advice for up and coming fighters that look up to you, like the boss is like my favorite, or even the youngins of the youth that look at you as like their hero and their idol and stuff. Is there like anything that you could tell them, like motivation or even just anything in general, like to go after what their dream? It's
definitely a hard sport, and you have to have your mind right, and like we talked about health and fitness and taking care of your body, that has to be a big part of your life. And you gotta push. You gotta push yourself to the limits every day in the gym. And you have to have a game plan. You have to have a plan. You have to have a good team behind you, and you have to have the will to win. Because in this sport, you're gonna have moments where things are really, really tough, and it's either gonna make you or it's gonna break you.
The life after boxing, are you gonna pursue it's too soon to say, but would you still stay in the sport, like train the youth, or would you like to do that type of thing?
Yeah, like boxing. Like I said, it's my identity. It's in my blood. It's my passion. I love boxing. And growing up, obviously, I told you I had that boxing gym, and it kind of taught you camaraderie with your teammates, and you had the trips, and it was just amazing memories. So, I mean, I haven't really made a huge plan for after boxing. I'm kind of, my number one focus right now is being the best and getting those fights. For after boxing, it would probably, like I said, Orangeville is a small town, and there's really not much of a boxing vibe there. Like that gym I went to is no longer there. So yeah, I see myself staying in boxing, helping kids out, maybe even starting a gym of my own.
You never know. Yeah.
It'll definitely forever be a part of my life.
Continue legacy for sure. Now, the word legacy, I just said right there. How important is legacy to you?
Legacy is very important to me. Obviously, I want my name to be remembered in the sport. I want to go down as one of the greatest Canadian fighters. So, it means a lot to me, man. That's another one of the reasons that pushes me is I want to leave a legacy, not just for the boxing, but like for my family and my friends and stuff like that.
Exactly.
They all believe in me, and so that motivates me as well, you know?
It's all said and done. All said and done. What do you want the fans to remember Josh Wagner as?
I want them to know that I'm very humble guy. I'll give you the shirt off my back, but if you mess with my people like Johnny here, you might get a left hook. No, but I'm a very humble guy. I'm a very hard worker. I have very high confidence.
Josh the Boss Wagner, 17-0, going for 18-0, April 27th, and we're out.